lot of angst out there with employers, with industry and business about what the advent of an emissions trading scheme and a CPRS is going to mean for them. Our employees at Drake are not just the people that we employ to run our business and to service our clients. Our employees are also fundamentally people that we have placed into other organisations who are still on our books. So we have thousands of people out every single day across a multitude of roles. So the other thing that we have to be conscious of is how a move to a low carbon economy is going to affect them and their jobs, and whether or not they have the right skills to conform or adapt to a low carbon economy. I think the first thing we need to have a look at is collaboration. There are, on the government side, there are a number of different programs that are going on, but in very siloed ways. There's also a lot going on in business and industry, but in very siloed ways. So companies are looking to maximise their profit or create a new industry. So of course they'll move to protect their intellectual property as they grow that offering. And then over here there's a third silo, and that's what consumers are doing. At home, turning off the lights at night, doing this and the next thing. So we're all moving towards the same goal because we're all motivated by the same thing. The problem is we're not collaborating well enough. So I think the most important thing that we need to do, whether it's here in Australia, in New Zealand, in Southern Africa, in our operations in Canada, we're seeing it as well in North America, is that those three groups need to come together and align. Now there is an opportunity to do that, and that's at the World Climate Conference in Copenhagen in December, where Drake, as part of the United Nations Global Compact, is moving towards promoting this whole notion of seal a deal. So let's not go to Copenhagen and then return from Copenhagen and all of a sudden we've got the same problems we have with the Kyoto Protocol, where some people signed up for it and some people didn't. Let's go to Copenhagen with open minds and seal a deal that's meaningful to everybody that lives on this planet. Less regulation and more involvement. So in terms of systemic change, instead of legislating for this, that and the next thing and creating complex regulations, it needs to be very simple. But it also needs to be more than just local and domestic, and it needs to be more than just regional. It needs to be an international collaborative effort. It's about being innovative and creating new things. If there was one thing I would suggest is we need to have a look at very closely, it's our energy supply mechanism. I would prefer wholeheartedly that we created new jobs and new industries along sustainable energy resources. Industry sometimes needs to be led, not dictated to. The last big change that impacted academic institutions, schools of business, universities, vocational institutions, schools, including our workplaces and our homes, was the rise of information technology in the workplace. We had to stand back and say, okay, we need to change what we teach. The next big change in workforce diversity is what's going on around us today. The climate, environment policies are changing, governments are regulating, emissions trading schemes are coming online. And so the question is asked whether or not we have the skills today to provide to this new economy, or what is being called the rise of a new green-collar worker. So this means, as I gave an example at the conference this morning, if it takes 40 to 65% less energy to produce secondary steel or recyclable steel, do we have the skills in the economy today that know how to use that byproduct in infrastructure and buildings and roads and rail, etc., etc.? The answer is we don't. So what do universities have the opportunity to do? Well, they have the opportunity to build that skills base on behalf of business and industry. In the 1990s, the government of the United Kingdom actually implemented pink bats as a program in the UK. Now, for every $1.6 million invested, it created 13.25 additional new full-time jobs. Over a period, that skills base increased.